Coming up next, we've had enough of the bad bosses of the world. We're going to talk employment expert Talent Planet's Dr. Greg. He's going to show us how to deal with work problems on today's Ask the Expert. We'll also take a few of your phone calls. One of my favorite guests here, working under a bad boss can make a job feel like prison. Here to tell us how to deal with ugly working conditions, Dr. Greg Ketchum with Talent Planet. Dr. Greg, thanks for being here.
Hey, Rob, how are you?
I'm good, thanks for asking. How bad is the bad management problem out there?
Well, a couple of years back, the Gallup organization did a poll of over 1 million U.S. workers, and they found that the #1 reason that people quit their jobs is because of a bad boss. So people leave bosses, not necessarily companies. And at the same time, they also found that poorly managed work groups are 50% less productive and 44% less making that money than well-managed groups. So I think you could say that it's a pretty big problem that has a pretty strong impact.
Take a look at some of the reasons for the top complaints. 39% say they failed to keep promises, 37% failed to give credit, 31% you get a little bit of a silent treatment action, 27% negative comments, 24% invaded privacy. Any of those stand out to you as like the biggest problems there, Dr. Greg?
Well, I think those top two, Rob, are failing to keep commitments that you make to your workers is one of the big problems, and the other is not giving credit where credit's due. And there are a couple of things that aren't on there that I hear a lot about in my work, and one is micromanaging, when you have a boss that just hovers and won't really give you the responsibility to do the job the way you feel it should be done. Another is berating, blowing up or berating your employees in public. And another category, it's not that you're just a bad boss, you have bad behavior, you just don't have good management skills. So another one I hear a lot is poor communication, not knowing what the boss expects, not knowing what the targets are to succeed in the job. So those are some of the most common ones that I hear in my work.
Now, when you're in a situation like that, if you're feeling these kind of pressures, do you think the individual should tough it out, quit, leave, go to HR? What's the answer?
Well, the first thing that I always say, Rob, is that you need to get out there and try to solve the problem yourself. You need to have a meeting with the boss and bring the issue up and try to resolve it. And you want to do that because even if you go to another job, one of the questions you're going to get is, well, what was the reason? What did you do to try to take care of that situation? So I've worked with people where they have bad bosses, they've tried to work it out and haven't been successful, and then their fallback position is just trying to find a way to cope with it. For example, if somebody has, they want to be on a job for 18 months, for example, before they get vested, and maybe they're 12 months into the job, so maybe it's not a good time to quit. So we work out a strategy with how to cope with that boss if you can't really help change them to get through that period of time.
Let's say you can't really do that. How do you interview for a new job while you currently need the paycheck from your current job?
Well, again, what I always advocate with people that I work with is you have to be honest about that. You've got to be upfront, but you want to tell a story about the job in a way that makes sense and that makes you look good, obviously. And you never want to come across as a whiner or complainer. In other words, you're just blaming it. I would have been there except for this horrible boss, because those natural questions are going to come up of, well, what did you do to try to resolve the situation? And a question that's going to be in their mind is this person capable of working with a wide variety of people, especially those they don't get along with? So you always want to tell the story of, you know, kind of here's what happened, here are the issues, here's how I tried to address that with the boss, here was the outcome, and here's the responsibility that I took, and kind of here's what I learned from that situation that I'm bringing into this one.
Thank you very much. That's Dr. Greg. We do have some websites that he brought along that are great websites if you want to learn how to deal with a bad boss. For the record, I got the best bosses in the world here. Yeah, but I could go to Bad Bossology. Bad Bossology, that's a fun word to say twice. badbossology.com, or I can go to Talent Planet. That's Dr. Greg's website. You're worth something, and you got to find out what you're worth. Go to talentplanet.com to learn. That's Dr. Greg Ketchum, employment expert, talentplanet.com. You can always email him questions too. He's very generous with his time, Dr. Greg at talentplanet.com.